Alrighty then. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mikestand. Rick, you want to say hello?
Yeah, I guess so. Hello. I said hello with a big yawn. I don't know why.
Granted, it's just the two of us right now, but that's okay. So Rick, how's your week going?
Not too bad. Just doing the same old for the last month or so.
Yeah,
Trying to
just the
promote
same
somehow, some way.
old song gone away. When you crying, oh, be the same. Anyways,
Trying to pro- trying to promote who should be everybody's favorite Canadian, the Canadian Shield.
yeah. So you wanna talk a little bit about your book and all that, Rick? While we're waiting to see if anybody comes in.
Well, sure, I can do that for a couple or seconds. Yeah, I got a book over on Indiegogo. Well, two books actually. Canadian Shield #2, all about this fabulous guy right here that you see in plastic. He's got a life in plastic. It's not so fantastic.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's about him, and then I have a second book about another hero called Snowdrift. It's her origins for her book, but I've have his origin issue out there, so now it's time for him to step up and take down some bad guys. And when you're facing Superman, that could be hard. Although he's
Mhm.
not quite Superman, he's Superman esque, and
Alright.
he's 8 foot tall and built like a brick house.
And
Even without
apparently,
the suit, you wouldn't want to mess with him in a dark alley.
yeah, and apparently YouTube's being a little screwy here because normally allows me to show myself as a viewer, but it's been a little screwy. Not usually I just have to make a comment or two, and it will show up. It'll show up as a second person. But right now they're still only showing one watching now, and it's
Uh,
yeah,
and I'm watching too, so I don't get it.
yeah. Anyway, um, just give me a quick second. I'm gonna do something else here. I'll be right back. So why don't you talk a little bit more to everybody? I know we have an empty audience here, but I'm try to do
Yeah.
something.
So yeah, he is built like a brick house, as you can tell. Uh, Superman type powers, super strength, durability. Although it's the suit that he wears, it's skin tight that gives him the abilities. So, you know, he's not somebody, like I said, you'd want to mess with in a dark alley. Probably not somebody even without the suit you'd want to mess with in a dark alley because, he's big and he's strong even before the suit. But luckily, he's got a good moral compass. He's not going to beat you up just for the sake of beating you up. Even if you're doing something wrong, he's not going to beat you up right away. He'll just try to hold you. Although sometimes he doesn't have easy time with that because he doesn't know quite what it should be doing or whatever, being from the early 1800s and in modern era. Uh,
All right,
yeah,
so see if that helps a little. Well, what I've been doing too is I've been utilizing my phone sometimes to like add myself as a second.
uh,
Dang nabbit.
Dang, nabbit. So this month, this week, we finally get to the infamous Batman. I heard you telling
Yeah.
me.
Yep.
Everybody can
There we go.
say,
There we
"I
go.
am Batman." Although he never really said that like that at this
Yeah.
point.
All right. Well, anyways, we're past the 5 minute mark, coming up on 6 minutes. It's us here. So oh, now we have some more people. Hello. Like we have 4 people now, so we have another
Oh,
person.
that is good.
All right. Well, just in time, because hello everybody, and as always, if you guys want to ask anything or comment on anything as we're going here, feel free to do so. Right now, we're gonna do a little. So this week, we're starting our April 1939 coverage, where we're looking back on comics history. This week, we're looking at comics from DC Comics. Um, and So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do some intros here in terms of getting to know some characters because, of course, Batman, Sandman, and then Batman, Sandman, and then and Ma Hunkel, the Golden Age Red Tornado. So uh,
He's your uncle. The Golden Age Red Tornado is your uncle.
no, Ma Hunkel.
My uncle.
No, Ma M-A Hunkel H-U. You'll see. Okay. Anyways,
I'm
so
teasing you. I'm teasing you. I'm
yeah.
playing.
Powers and abilities of the Batman, just to show everybody that we are talking, in fact, about Earth 2 Batman, Earth 2 Bruce Wayne here. Go back up to, so yeah.
Up
This
and
is,
away. Oh,
this
not
is
away.
Bruce Wayne, Earth 2. This is the Batman of Earth 2 right here. So, just so everybody knows. So,
Although when it first came out, nobody knew about Earth 1 and Earth 2, so it was just
yeah,
Batman.
it was retconned to having different. So, powers, decelerated aging. Batman and Robin had their aging rates reduced after the JSA, the Justice Society of America, battle with Ian Carkle. Now, that will come up later, of course. JSA, for those of you who may not know, is the Justice Society of America. It was basically the Golden Age version of the JLA or the Justice League. So, just so y'all know that. Anyways, abilities, peak human condition, acrobatics, acting, archery, aviation, disguise, driving, genius level, and intellect, which would include, criminology, a study of criminal behavior, gadgetry, the ability to basically invent stuff, investigation, like criminal investigation, and then eidetic memory. Now,
Eidetic memory.
eidetic
It's what Sheldon on The Big Bang Theory has.
eidetic memory, sometimes confused with genius level and known as photographic memory. Eidetic memory is a term used to describe the ability of some characters to mentally recall anything and everything a character has ever been allowed to. So basically, eidetic memory is what they're saying is the same thing as photographic memory. So that's what they're saying that is.
Yeah.
Let's see. So from there, escapology, the study of the ability to escape. Like do like how magicians will do the escape. Escaping.
Yeah, getting out
Mar-
of traps and that. Hey, May.
Hey, Meme. We're getting into some history here, so hope you'll stick around. And if you can help by liking and sharing the stream, and seeing if we can get some more people here, that'd be appreciated. This should be a very interesting night as we're gonna be going over some because we're gonna be covering, of course, the first appearances of Batman, Golden Age Red Tornado, Ma Hunkel, and then of course the first Um, the first published appearance of DC Sandman Wesley Dodds, not to be confused with the Marvel Comics villain, mind you. Let's see. So going back to Batman's abilities here, marksmanship, which is the ability to, of course, use projectile weapons. Indomitable will, meaning he basically never gives up. Martial arts. Um, Martial arts, as most people know, are fighting type arts. So boxing, jujitsu, wrestling. Basically, Batman is considered to be, whatever incarnation, whether Earth 2, Earth 1, post crisis, modern day, he's considered one of the most well trained athletes in all of the DCU. So mimicry, Batman could impersonate Commissioner Gordon's voice to help himself on his investigations. Swimming, swordsmanship, fencing. Of course, we'd see the swordsmanship and fencing with his battles against Cavalier. Paraphernalia, equipment, utility belt, transportation, the Batmobile, Batcycle, Batboat, Batplane. Weapons, a batarang, basically a boomerang shaped in the form of a bat. So here are some of the notes for Batman here. This version of Batman, including all hit now, this is said among just about every character, every mainstream character. I'll just say it once. I won't repeat this after this. But this version of, because this applies to all these all the characters basically. This version of Batman, including all history and corresponding appearances, was erased from existence following the collapse of the original multiverse in the 1985-86 Crisis on Infinite Earths limited series. Basically, when they rebooted the DCU, basically, is what they're talking about. Even though versions of the character may have since appeared, this information does not apply to those versions. Although the Batman of Earth 2 was the regular Batman throughout the Golden Age, he appeared specifically as a resident of Earth 2 for the first time in Justice League of America number 82, August. So basically, what they're saying there is we know that this particular Batman was the Golden Age Batman. He was the one who was basically from Batman's introduction all the way through like 1955. Okay. It was just not noted that he was of Earth 2 until, even though it was actually the Flash of Two Worlds, Flash number 123, that established the multiverse, the different verse. It was
for the DC universe, anyways.
Huh?
For the DC universe, anyways.
Right. It wasn't until Justice League of America number 82 that okay.
And hello, Robert Roberts.
Hey, Robert. We're going through some basic introductory information here. Let's see what you got to say here. Cross Comics has presumably quite unintentionally focused the cameras right on the superhero's junk, with his face moving back and forth in front of it. Huh?
He must be. Is he talking? I'm not sure which one he's talking about, because to me it doesn't seem to be focused on either of their junk. Either the big one or the small one.
Actually, May, if you're still here, I just saw that you had his back goat on vacation. No. That goat hasn't been around in a while. Some issues came up. At least from my end, there's no. He's basically decided to take some time off on his own. I just don't want to make bigger deal out of it than it is. But yeah. Anyways, getting back to the, and if you guys haven't already, you guys can like and share the screen so we can get some more friendly people in here. That'd be appreciated. Anyways, let's learn a little bit more about Bruce Wayne here as we continue here. Unlike most other most of his other counterparts, including his counterpart from Earth 1 and his counterpart from New Earth, the Earth 2 Bruce Wayne was a frequent pipe smoker for many years, dating all the way back to his youth before his marriage to Selena, and continuing after her death, which accumulated to several decades. Some writers and fans have speculated this was the source of the terminal cancer that was slowly killing him, which was hinted at in The Brave and the Bold issue number 197. Um, let's see. Moving on to the next note here. Unlike the original Golden Age stories, Earth 2 Batman was shown to have carried and used a gun after forming his partnership with his Robin, whereas the original stories have Batman using a gun in only his earliest adventures and stop before Robin joins him as a partner shown in Detective Comics number 38. Let's see. He was briefly succeeded in the role of Batman by his former junior partner Dick Grayson after Wayne retired, but Grayson felt uncomfortable in the role of Batman and decided not to continue in the role and resumed his original costume identity as Robin with a modified version of his mentor's costume. Grayson later replaced that version of his costume with his better known, mostly yellow bodysuit version. So this is all stuff from,
Uh,
of course, Earth 2. This is all they're talking about Earth 2 stuff. Let's see.
Roberts is wanting you to read the gun stuff again. I guess he didn't quite get it.
All right, let's see. Well, let me just get caught. Let's see. The big one. Maybe I just can't stop looking at the. Okay, and then May. Let's see. And it's still here. Hmm. I see. I see. Um, Batman and Robin sniping villains with guns on rooftops. Yeah, that was more the early days. Wait, could you read the gun stuff again? I'll go back and read that, Robert. What
Well,
version did he not use a gun? It's
Earth
more the
One.
modern version. It's more the Silver Age and modern versions, Robert. It's the Golden Age. He did use a gun, but. All right, so let's see. Let me just find it. Okay, so this is what they said about the gun stuff here. Unlike the original Golden Age stories, Earth 2 Batman was shown to have carried and used a gun after forming his partnership with his Robin, whereas the original stories have Batman using a gun in only his earliest adventures and stop before Robin joins him as a partner shown in Detect. In other words, Robin joined him as a partner and did it. Yeah, that does sound a little confusing. I
Yeah,
think what you're trying to
it's
say here is in the very early stories of Batman, he used a gun. Then he stopped using a gun, and then he went back to using a gun just before joined up with Robin. But
yeah, or he was using it afterwards for the gold for the Earth Two stuff.
yeah,
Anyways,
this is the golden
Earth Two.
golden age version. This is not reflective of Silver Age or post crisis or modern day.
But Robin was using guns too. I'm not sure.
Um, I don't know, but Robin doesn't come around till much later. When we do get to his debut, we'll be reading this stuff about him, and maybe they'll have some clarification on that as well. Well, anyways, going back down to the notations here, let's see. The Earth 2 Batman spirit appeared in the Infinite Crisis events and claimed to now be elsewhere, and that his previous existence was now quote unquote complicated. It was not specified whether it was the Earth 2 Wayne spirit or Grayson Spirit, who appeared in the JSA 80 to 82, Justice Society of America is what that stands for. The Batman that appeared in newspaper comics from 1943, 1946 is from Earth 40, not Earth 2. So that's another little tidbit. And then Bruce Wayne, Batman was voiced by Kevin Conroy in the Batman Strange Days short. Kevin Conroy, of course, he became known as the voice of Batman for the DCAU stuff. Now, trivia here. During his crime fighting career, Batman has survived at least 9 bullet wounds. Wow. They say here Bruce was a fan of Warner Brothers. And then
I wonder why.
yeah. And then on Earth 2, the Golden Age Batman, Bruce was born April 7th, 1915 and died in 1979, making him 64 years old when he passed away. Now, to uniform it, I usually, even though because according to the DCU calendar that I've read, like the Earth 2 version was born on April 7th, Earth 1 version was born on February 13th. I just use February 13th as a general and then recommended reading. Well, we'll get into all this. Detective Comics, that was his first appearance. His first origin story was in 33. Batman #1, first solo title. Number 38, first Robin partner, and then he, according to this, he dies in Adventure Comics number 462. So
Robert
anyway,
Robert Roberts was wondering when Earth 2 stories were written in real life.
okay, Earth 2 was the Golden Age era. Earth 2 was the Golden Age era. So the stories we're reading right now, even though they're not identified as such in the comics because they hadn't necessarily established the idea of two different universes yet. The stories we're reading right now in the Golden Age, those are all Earth 2.
Or mainly because the firing of the gun thing seemed to differentiate between Earth 2 and Golden Age.
Right. Now, Earth 1, which is the Earth that probably most of us are more familiar with, that's a Silver Age Earth. So on the Golden Age Earth, it was basically from the late 1930s into the mid 50s. Okay, what they often say, and I think it's issue Detective Comics 225 or something like that. When Martian Manhunter makes his first appearance, that is said to be kind of the point where basically it's where the point where you're separating the Golden Age, where it goes from the Golden Age, and so it basically
Where you separate Golden Age
Manhunter's first appearance is said to be the dawn of the Silver Age. That's
for DC Comics, anyways.
For DC Comics, right? We're of course talking DC Comics here because obviously other companies are going to differentiate that a little bit differently. So right now we're focusing, of course, on the Golden Age era, which is Earth 2, and then Earth 1 is
most of the Golden Age stuff could be probably considered Earth 2 stuff. But when we were reading that firing
one of the few exceptions, one of the few Golden Age features that is one of the few Golden Age features that is actually that is the exception is Slam Bradley. The Slam Bradley stories that were happening here were actually happening on Earth 1. It was later identified as such in Detective Comics 500. So, when were Earth 2 stories first written in real life? As I said, the Golden Age.
Like I said, with what they said, there seems to be a slight differentiation between Golden Age and Earth 2 Batman.
Mm-hmm.
because they said Earth two, Golden Age one fired a gun, and then didn't pick it before Robin, then didn't pick it up. Where Earth two picked it up, was using a gun while Robin was with him.
Yeah. So
So I don't know what Golden Age would be.
well,
what,
okay, go for D
what Earth?
for the purposes of D for the purposes of DCU, the Golden Age was basically from the start of the company in 1935 to 1955. Even though
Yeah,
you did have some Silver Age Superman and Batman stories, um, starting up in the early
yeah,
50s there. But for the most part, the golden age was from when DC for the DCU for purposes of looking at DCU history and Kanan history. The golden age was from the beginning in 1935 to 1955, and then
yeah,
the silver age would have been considered from 1955 to basically Crisis on Infinite Earths in 1986. That would be considered
yeah,
the silver age.
yeah. 85, 86.
So that's basically. Anyways, we got some more characters to kind of go through the notations before we get it. So we're gonna try to hurry along here a little bit. So next,
When did DC do that? That would be the Flash of Two Worlds. I'm not sure which issue that would be.
yeah, number
Flash.
123, Flash Volume One, number 123. So
Okay.
um, the Flash of Two Worlds storyline was basically anyways. Actually, this thing is not okay. Yeah, so what I need to do. And here they'll use like notations: Earth One, Earth Two, New Earth. That. So again, for our purposes, now this will be the last Detective Comics thing. This is James Gordon, Commissioner Gordon of Earth Two. Um, of course, made his first appearance, and that's why we're doing this as well here, because he made his first appearance here as well. We'll just look at his powers and abilities real quick. Abilities, leadership as police commissioner. Gordon was able to organize the members of the police department to take action. Law, hand to hand, basic hand to hand combat, and investigation. Notes, and basically the same thing we talked about with anything we talked about with Batman about the whole retconning thing. Um,
Yeah.
let's see now. So let me go on to. All right. So there's of course and then that right there was the Golden Age Red Tornado's costume right there.
Well, that looks a lot different than the Red Tornado I know.
Well, yeah, most people are more aware of the robot Red Tornado, the one of Earth One. Um,
Yeah. I
uh,
should draw him up sometime.
Abigail Uncle. All right. Well, they're just giving us 1930 in the mainstream universe. So, anyways, all right. So let me just go back and check one more thing here. Let's see. According to this, her first appearance All American Comics number 3, 1939. We're gonna be reading that story here. Um, in a bit as soon as we get through. So basic abilities, basic hand to hand combat in her youth. The Red Tornado, aka Ma Hunkel, could break down dozens of gang members and petty criminals one at a time or all at once. Um,
Uh,
again, we'll again
so a
we'll see.
female superhero.
Well,
Right.
yeah, I mean you'll see when we read the stories. Cooking. Ma Hunkel is renowned for her cooking and her ability to feed large groups of people, particularly that of the ever expanding roster of the Justice Society. Weaknesses: clumsiness. Be it by bad luck or clumsiness, Hunkel frequently put herself in embarrassing and even dangerous situations. Notes, let's see. Ma Hunkel first appears as the Red Tornado in All American Comics number 20. So she was a regular character starting in issue 3 as part of the Squibbly feature, which we'll be reading. Um, so trivia
Cool.
here: Abigail Hunkel is also known as Red Tornado. Of course, that's obvious. We just talked about that. Few people know that Ma Hunkel was the original Red Tornado, even during her brief stint as a crime fighter. People often mistook her for a man because, of course, the whole idea of a female superhero wasn't. Ma Hunkel's grocery store is on Vine Street in New York City. So, so
Cool.
now we're gonna look at Sisty Hunkel, her daughter. Let me see first off if there is a way to there's a way to get to her. Now Sisty Hunkel, along with Mortimer Gibbet or Dinky Gibbet as it were. Um, yeah, okay, so she's named Amelia Hunkel. Um, Nee Hunkel. Um, Sisty Hunkel here was her daughter, and she was one half of the Kids with Squibbly's little brother Dinky. Dinky and Sisty, they were the Cyclone Kids. They were the little tag-alongs to Ma Hunkel. So history notes. So notes here. Let's see. Um, yeah, that part I already know. As I said, yeah, she and Dinky were like best friends growing up, and they eventually got married. When you know how that story goes, kids who grow up together and um,
Yeah.
former, yeah, even though they. And of course, they don't have. So let me go to the first, as I said. Let's see. Wait, maybe do it like that. All right, here. So they just list them again as New Earth, but
Sandman.
yeah. So this is Wesley Dodds. Um, Now some of these powers actually, like initially when he was first introduced, he didn't have any he didn't really have any powers. These powers came later. Um, he was much like Batman, just kind of a rich guy with who. But anyways, you'll see this. Um, Prophetic dreams. Okay. Um, Peak human condition. So we won't go through the powers as much because the powers come later. Prophetic dreams, decelerate aging, but abilities. Now these were of course more what was in line with what we're going to be reading here in the near future. Here, artistry, origami, and writing, aviation, criminology. Wesley Dodds was a brilliant detective. In fact, Wesley started out, basically with a business suit and fedora type costume before taking on later in his career taking on a more of a tights type of costume. Let's see, driving chemistry. He was a talented chemist, creating the sedative vapors in his weaponry. Safe cracking. The Sandman was renowned for safe cracking skills, genius level intellect, marksmanship, martial arts. Dodge is a practitioner of jujitsu, mechanical aptitude. West was also a talented inventor and created his weapon along with continuously upgrading his gas gun. Multilingualism, spoke Spanish. Multilingualism basically means he knows more than one language. Obviously, science. Shortly before, and this is going to be one of the stories. Where actually, this will be the first story we'll be looking at. In fact, I think this is the story they're talking about from that was in New York World's Comics. But shortly before World War II, West invented a ray gun and turned it over to the U.S. government. Um, Much later in his career, Dodge invented a silicoid gun or gas gun, basically, um, which could produce and control. Oh, okay, no, a silicoid is gun. Stand in any form or state. Um, it could create walls of cement and glass handcuffs. Um, Tragically, the prototype exploded and bombarded partner Sandy Hawkins. That again comes later with radioactive silica particles, which mutated Hawkins into a monstrous form. Basically, it's what turned Sandy Hawkins into sand, into the Pharaoh sand. And if anything, he's actually more akin to, obviously the more of a heroic version, but he's more akin to the Sandman of Marvel comics. Um,
because he's
Dodd,
really sandy.
yeah. um, Dodds also invented and adapted a transparent chamber in which he contained Hawk. Okay, swimming and tactical analysis. His weakness was a weak heart. Equipment. World War One style gas mask. At first, the Sandman used a World War One era gas mask to protect himself from the effects of his own sleeping gas. Um, over Over the years, he upgraded and refined his gas mask. The best known, which was flatter, was used in underwater operations. And then the wirepoon gun, um, he he also made use of a specially designed wirepoon gun, which fired the length of thin steel cable um, that he used to scale walls and swing. Essentially, it's something very similar to what Batman has. It's something very
Yeah,
similar. You remember from Batman from the '90s
yeah.
Batman cartoon. It's some basically kind
A
of the same.
grappling gun.
Yeah. Um, Transportation. He drove a 1938 black Plymouth. And then his weaponry, of course, the gas gun we talked about. Sandman's trademark weapon was his gas gun, a handheld device fitted with cartridges containing concentrated sleeping gas. Pressing the trigger, the gas released. Um, Basically, a variant of the truth serum. So basically, he could put different forms of gas, and then the silicoid gun we talked about already. So in the pre-crisis stories, Sandman's hair was black, and his origin was never revealed. In Sandman Mystery Theater, his hair is retconned as brown, and he wears glasses. So, um, in many of his Golden Age appearances, Sandman's true name was was given as West Dodds. In later stories, his surname was West Dodd, and was firmly established as Dodd. So, um,
Okay, I'll be right back. I'm
all
just
right,
gonna go grab something to drink.
all right. Let's see. With that, anyways. So hopefully everybody's here because we are going, as soon as Rick gets back, we are actually going to get into the reading. But let me just finish up some of the notes here. In 1999, Wes was 86 years old. Combined with his birthday from 1976, this would make his birthday November 3rd, 1913. So, um, although Diane Belmont is often thought as Wesley Dodd's wife, the two of them have never married, though he wanted to and once proposed. Diane, who was naturally rebellious, wished to live in a domestic partnership, which was highly unconventional for their generation. Basically, you could argue that Diane was a woman ahead of her time, basically. She didn't believe in the confines of marriage. Um, the Sandman was also known as the Grainy Gladiator. Wes's hobbies included reading, writing poetry, origami, and philosophy. An upgraded gas canister dispenser for Sandman's gas gun was provided for him by close friend and confidant Lee Travis. For those of you who don't know, Lee Travis, of course, was Red Tornado, who basically followed a very similar path Sandman did. Was more fedora wearing, gas gun using hero before. In the 1930s, Wes Dodds employed a butler, also confidant, Mr. Leslie Humphreys, in Sandman Mystery Theater, depicted as out of shape, although he is wiry and muscular in other magazines. In this title, the golden purple outfit was worn only once. So, anyway, so that's all the introduction that we're going to do here. So now it's time to, as I'm still waiting for Rick to get back, time would be now to start heading over to um, all right, so let's get it. Actually, I'll have to send over. And just give me a moment, folks. You're seeing as I'm basically trying to get to the point where we're going to start our reading. All right, so before. All right, Rick, you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I just gotta put my headphones on.
All right, I actually need to step away before we start reading here, and I've already put the link
Link.
in the private chat for you. If you want to get yourself set up, I've got to step away from the computer for a moment, so I'll be right back. So if you want to talk to everybody, when I get back, we'll get started on the readings here. And hopefully, if anybody is out there, we're going to start reading the comics now. So hopefully, you guys will get a chance to enjoy it. Anyway, I'll be right back.
After these messages, he'll be right back. Do, 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 do. So, how is everybody out there today this week? How is your week going out there? Everybody who's here watching and all that. Um, so, what shall we do with the Duncan sailor? What shall we do with the Duncan sailor so early in the morning? Um, what shall we do?
All right, I'm back.
Ah, no.
Anyways, alrighty then. So, Rick, I'll handle the narration, the main character, and the female characters, and then we'll figure out as we go along
Who
which
I
character
will
to do.
do?
All right. You all right there?
Yeah,
You ready? Because now we're gonna get into the readings of these. So we'll scan down real quick because we're already, the intros there took quite a while. We're already at the 48-minute mark, and I'm going to get to the 5 stories tonight. So normally I would say, if anything catches your attention, you want to comment on, um, feel free to do so. Just let's try to keep it to a minimum tonight so we can get to the story. Because we got like 5 stories we want to get
yeah, that
through.
sounds
So,
good. Well,
so this,
well, the great thing is they get progressively shorter. So
yeah. Well, again, I had to do the intro stuff, obviously. So this is covered. This is Action
yeah,
Comics number 12, May 1939, 10 cents this month and
no, what
every
I
month.
mean, what yeah, I just more mean, you said the first one's gonna be 12 pages, the next one's gonna be like 10, and then the next one's
Yeah,
gonna be 8, and like something 4. I don't,
yeah.
I forget the exact number you were saying for
Six,
each,
4, and 4. Yeah. So this
but
month
that's
and every
only
month. Okay.
we only listed 4 stories there, so I don't know which one we missed in the number or did we? I don't know.
Okay,
Doesn't matter. We're gonna rate
the
them.
12 pager is going to be the Zatara story here in Action Comics. Then
Yeah.
10 pages of Sandman and New York World's Fair, and then 6 pages in Detective Comics for Batman,
Oh,
and then
okay.
four
I
pages
said
each for
I said 8, not 6. So okay,
yeah,
but
and then 4 pages each from All American Comics 2 and 3, the with a Hop Harrigan story and a Squibbly story. So, anyways, this month and every month, Superman. Also, another thrilling and unusual adventure of Zatara. So there's Superman on the cover, but you can kind of see though the color scheme's a little off there on Superman.
that might be. I think that's a bad photocopy, or it's really aged. And somebody colored Zatara's hand,
Yeah. Well,
and
yeah.
of
No,
course,
I think this that well the color yeah the coloring of Zatara's hand. I think I'd agree with you there, but I think up there the Superman that looks more like it was actually part of
yeah.
the. So there's Zatara's hand.
And then of course Zatara is Zatanna's father, from what
Right.
most people would know nowadays.
The four corners. And again, we're gonna like breeze through this stuff. I'll at least give you guys a chance to at least look at the artwork a bit there. There's Superman right there. Now
This is what
this
number?
is the now now starting with the next issue of Action Comics, I'll probably be focusing on Superman over those 7 issues because that's one of his first major story arcs where he's going up against a major villain, the Ultra Humanite. But that's down the road a bit there. But in this issue, he's declared war on reckless drivers. That's what this is all about. And you're seeing here. Um, and that was 13 pages right there of Superman. And now we got another. Again, I'm just breezing through this so we can. I am stopping every few frames so you guys can. Pep Morgan with Pep Morgan was kind of a Jim Thorpe type feature. Kind of Pep Morgan was a naturally talented athlete who people would have come on to fill in at times when they needed somebody who was kind of a jack of all trades when it came to athletics. And then here's here and there by Gus. Normally, I would even be going through some of the other features too, but as we know, we're just trying, you know, Tex Thompson here. Tex Thompson was another Playboy type adventurer, much like Wesley Dodds and Bruce Wayne. He only thing is he didn't early in his career though he didn't don a costume at all. He just kind of went around in whatever he wore. You know, he's from Texas, so Chuck Dawson, which is a Western story there. Here we go. Zatara, the Master Magician and the Land of the Fourth Dimension by Fred Guarnier. After a trip around the world, we find Zatara, the Master Magician, resting a fortnight at the Explorers Club in San Francisco, where one of the most unusual experiences in his life is about to be enacted. About to be enacted. Wow. All right. You want to try doing that guy right there?
Okay. Yeah. Pardon me, sir, but are you not Zatara, the magician?
What? Why? Yes, but who? But who? Professor Suswell? Suswell?
You do remember me. Then you were a brilliant scholar, Zatara, in things you enjoyed. I think I have some such thing. to interest you now. There is another dimension occupying the same space as ours. It's made up of curves of time different from what we ever knew. But I, Zatara, have made an instrument to enable us to enter the fourth dimension. I have invented a machine of curved wires so fitted together that they coincide with the curves of the fourth dimension. I call it the doorway to the fourth.
Wow. I mean, look at it. This is some good science. Would you say there's some good sci-fi writing right here, Rick?
A little bit, but you gotta love his name for it. I call it the doorway to the fourth. How original!
Yeah. But remember, this is at the dawn of comics too. So
Yeah, I know. I'm just teasing, of course. Um, this is my invention. In another moment, the doorway will begin to function. I attach the last bit of curved wire that will complete my door. And
the door into the fourth dimension. Am, um, am I the magician seeing things?
it is not magic, I assure you, purely science, raised to the highest perfection. Take care to take a look.
After Sus will carefully adjust the apparatus, the Tara, overpowered by curiosity. That's an interesting way of putting it. Overpowered by curiosity, peers within the strange doorway, and Zatara sees the fourth dimension. Um, it's a queer land. Is it safe?
You gotta love the language back then,
Yeah.
eh?
Well,
Anyways,
considering that today queer has a totally different meaning than it did back then. Back then, of course, it meant
yeah.
strange, uh,
Strange or
which
weird.
which we've talked about several times on this
Yeah.
show. So,
I I am afraid to do more than just peer within. But you, Zatar, you have been in all corners of the globe. Would you enter for me?
hmm. Anything for a new thrill, Professor.
He's gone.
So this is the fourth dimension. What the? A mighty denizen of the fourth dimension menaces Zatara. Menaces Zatara. An interesting way of putting it, huh, there, Rick? Um, Suddenly, a strange girl leaps between Zatara and the animal. Away, away, Sadra! You are not of the men of Thrall. Are are you of Arin? Not neither. I'm from an entirely different place. A land you've never heard of, yet it exists on all sides of us. The girl blows her horn. Instantly with lassos Instantly men with lassos appear. Ta- Take him alive. Lateral would like to question him. Guard! Oh wait. Garzondo! As the Tara speaks, the men find um, themselves tied with their own lassos. Who? Who are you? Let us be friends. I do not desire to hurt you, but I must defend myself. Let us go peacefully before Zadaral. I am Duoro. maiden of Thrul. This is the laboratory of the biochemist. They created life as it existed millions of years ago. I was a pet saber-toothed tiger you met before I saved you. Enter, stranger. Zatara is born at breathtaking speed into the heart of the new world. The car pauses at a cement landing. This will take us before Zatara. The couple next board the cylindrical object. What? An elevator system? As Zatara steps from the elevator into the room, two huge dogs leap at him. The magician gestures and the hounds become suspended in midair. Hastra Jetra! You want to be Zatara right there?
What? What? The dogs. Release them.
They they um they would try to bite me.
I am Extral, ruler of Thrall. You may be of some aid to me. Follow.
Um oh
Thrall's war with Aaron. If you would lend your uncanny powers to Thrall, you will be rewarded.
hmm. How may I aid you?
The rulers of Aaron have a legend that a necklace of Baya, which hangs above their throne, is necessary to continue to rule. Steal that necklace, and you steal Aaron. Can you do it?
I can, but I will not. You must, mighty one. You do not know how we war here. Let me show you.
He is a spy. Let him die.
Zatara flings up a hand and the knife races back toward Zotaral.
Help! Stop it!
I think you will be safer there while I follow Dororo. Watch the panel, Zatara. You will see the war zone. This is our all-site screen on which we see events that occur all over the land of Thrall. Soon, see there? Zatara sees men die horribly on the all-site screen, and always men wither before the strange war weapons. And to think that with these magic hands of mine, I may halt this senseless carnage. I am ready. I am ready, Duoro. Duoro. You must take a plane to Arin. Use your wits, Zatara. You must steal that necklace. Only you can do it. I will be watching the screen. Do not touch Zotaral until my return, but feed him well. Onward Zatara races across strange lands.
Well, hopefully he's already taken into account, but he doesn't know who's right in this war.
You know, Simon, I think that's what he's kind of working at right now.
Yeah.
If you saw his interaction with Zotterall right there,
Yeah.
and you know his interaction with Duura, I think he's actually working through that part.
Yeah.
You know, you make a good point there, Rick. But I think as the story goes along here, he's working
Yeah.
through that part.
Yeah. I thought that was why he might not have agreed to steal the necklace. You
At
know.
first, because yeah, because he's not sure who's right, as you said. So,
Yeah.
anyway, the watchtowers of Arin finally come into view. Look! Before the guards' amazed eyes, Zatara appears riding on a white stallion, and the horse and rider turn into a vulture.
Well,
Look at
I
that!
must
And
I
the
must
horse
admit
doesn't
that
even
is
have
an
his hat on.
interesting. I must admit that's an interesting plane though.
What was that?
That white horse is an interesting plane. She said
Yeah,
you need to take a plane, right? And then
right.
you see him riding this wicked white horse.
Yeah, and then he eventually, and then he after the winged horse, he turns the horse and himself into a vulture there, and you see the vulture with his hat on as well.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
Which goes up in a puff of smoke. To the queen! This may be some new weapon of warfare. The guards run into the court of Queen Mulano. A strange man turned into a bird and then vanished in smoke. He may be a spy or it may be a new weapon. I see. I see nothing to be alarmed at, fools. Not as foolish as you think, Queen Mulano. To the to the dungeons with them. Go now to my throne to consult the necklace of Baya. I shall follow. I shall follow Milano and find the necklace. Now you may notice there Zatara is invisible.
Yeah.
They even draw the outline of his invisible body there, so you know he's
Yeah.
there. Interesting technique for back then, huh?
Yeah.
And do we have anybody else other than us two following along here?
Well, I nobody's saying anything in the chat, but I don't can't see how many people are
Yeah,
supposedly watching.
it's kind of a shame that they couldn't be patient enough to let us get to this point. You know,
Yeah.
I know sometimes the introductory stuff can be a little bit boring, but you know you want to have as much background information as you can when you're getting into something. So, anyways, Milano comes to the sacred throne of Haran, the secret of the necklace of Baya. As the queen presses the hidden button, the throne revolves, revealing a secret chamber. At last, the necklace of Baya. Necklace of Baya. Hereditary voice of Arin. Reveal your wisdom to me. I shall, Arin, rule through as it promises to do. Queen Milano listens in awed fear as the necklace speaks. In reality, it is the magician. Queen Milano, cease the folly of war. If you do not, then shall this necklace depart these walls forever. It, it spoke. And that is not all it will do unless you take its advice. The queen rushes out and gives orders to a guard. Call the elders. They must appear before the necklace of Baya and hear what it has to say. So this now here's an interesting way to stop a war.
Yeah.
Become a deity in a way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Although he doesn't know what the war is about at this point, so he could be stopping it. These guys could be on the side of good, and that other side, Nazis or something like that, and he's stopping them from stopping them. You know.
Well, I guess we'll just have to continue reading the story to see how this
Yeah.
all plays out.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
hmm. These rubies are worth 10 fortunes. What comes? I, I tell you, the necklace did speak. You shall hear for yourselves. Speak once again, O necklace of Baya. Speak so that these my counselors may hear your wisdom. I hear your plea, O queen, Milano. Once more I speak so that those unbelieving counselors of yours may hear cease war with rule at once, or I depart forever. You want to be the counselor there, Rick?
Okay. Okay. You are senseless thing. Did you speak? You cannot leave us.
Let's see. Watch, foolish one.
It is gone!
Stung to action, the counselors and queen confer. Necklace of fire, it must be war. When we have destroyed Thrul, you will return at your ancient glory at Haran. At this point, Zatara resumes his shape and confronts the astounded group. It is time I fought you in the open, Queen Milano. When all your soldiers are as age as you will now, you will see how useless war is. Instantly, the magician's gesture, the queen's becomes a horrible hag. The war must end. Oh, give me my youth again. I will do as you say. Granted her youth again, the queen talks to her general on the television radio. Now, before I continue there, I just want to make a point as to what you were talking about earlier. I'm trying to figure out who who may be in the right and who may be in the wrong here. I mean, you could argue that the Aryans right there could be in the wrong because they're the one who are pushing. But then again, we also see Zadarol himself was also pushing for war. So it is
Yeah,
still a
we
little bit.
yeah, it looks like at this point it's not going to resolve why that they were at war. You know,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know, like
sometimes what happens is some people can go into war for so long that they actually forget why they were in war to begin with.
yeah, there's
You've heard
that
that
too.
before, right?
This could be that, and I'm not saying it's not. We're just not told one way or another what it
Right.
is.
Right. We're just following the story as it comes down. Commander, destroy all engines of war at once. Radio Thrall, we we sue for peace. Disband the armies and order the men home at once. Now, in this case, sue for peace, I think means to negotiate.
Yeah.
Uh, all over the empire of Aran, the war engines are destroyed, and the last ray gun is broken. On deck of the quote flying queen unquote bound for Thrall to enter into peace talks. Together, Thrall and Aran should thrive in peace and prosperity. See to it, Queen Milano. I promise, Zatara. So look at that. Oh, we have a little bit more to get through. In the land of Thrall, Zatara and Milano meet Duoro. Duoro. Zavarol is dead, Zatara. Who shall sign the treaty? That simplifies matters a bit. I have a proposal to make. Duoro and Milano, I propose that Duoro be made queen of Thrall, and with Milano rule over your united kingdoms. This new land shall be called Duomal for both of you. Wow, an interesting ending. Well, let's see. Still more to go here, I guess. And the two queens seal the peace treaty with the kid. Now, before anybody goes nuts here and starts going all like, oh, lesbian, lesbian, lesbian here, in many cultures, that's actually considered quite normal, and it's not always considered like romantic or sexual.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think of the Bible, Judas came up to
Well,
Jesus.
yeah. I mean, you
Uh,
think about it. Judas, right? He
yeah.
betrayed Jesus with a kiss.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be a sign of affection, but not a
Sexual,
romantic to. Yeah.
right? Not romantic, not sexual. And and just in case there are people who will watch this re this this replay, just know this isn't necessarily mean that it's romantic or sexual in any way. This
Well,
some culture. This is a practice in certain cultures. For
although I must say, with that picture, it does look like they're enjoying it a bit too much.
yeah, it could be implied that it could be implied that maybe there is some enjoyment, but as we would see a little later, a couple years later with Wonder Woman, they had that a little bit in there too. They had that kind of imagery, and this is
Yeah.
the kind of stuff that Frederick
Yeah.
Worthen was arguing against in the parents' councils of in the 40s too. But anyways, so getting back to this.
Yeah.
And the necklace of Baya shall remain for you both. A new day looks for the people of the fourth dimension. I must go back to my own world again, Duoro. Too long have I tarried here. Perhaps some other time I may return. Now, Rick, do you know what the word tarry means in this case?
Yeah. To wait, to stay off,
To
because
stay, to stay, to um,
I know it from, again, the Bible, King James stuff,
right,
yeah, to tarry, the Lord tarries.
right.
How long will he tarry before he, you know, comes again?
We shall. We shall grieve over your departure, Zatara. This white square is the doorway into my own world. Farewell, Duoro. I had a remarkable adventure, Professor. Sit down, and I'll tell you about it someday. Someday I will have to go back to see how the new kingdom formed is making out. Now, can you imagine that? Imagine going back to the guy who invented this doorway into this other world and telling him that you had a part in creating a new kingdom.
Yeah. Frankly, it was way too easy, in my opinion. This is something that should have been over multiple books, the solving of it. They rushed the ending of that story a little bit too much to me.
Hmm.
Just because, you know,
Well, yeah,
most
but again,
likely, most
you have
like,
to remember too. You have to remember we're looking at it, from our perspective here in the future, right?
yeah.
We're looking
Well,
at it from where we're at here in 2022.
I'm not even
Um,
looking at it from that perspective. I'm just saying, this guy that they don't know, yeah, he shows some great power, comes along and says, you know, stop your war, and he doesn't give them a real reason to. I think of it a little bit like we're not told what the stakes are. We're not told why they were fighting or anything. We're not even told they're fighting just because they've been fighting for centuries. Like I'm thinking of the episode of Star Trek. I think A Little Taste of Armageddon, where they had the two sides fighting, so to speak, and they had been fighting for generations, and now
yeah, in
oh,
other
the
words,
bomb was
what
dropped.
you're saying that what you're I guess what you're saying is that you're a little disappointed in the lack of depth in the story. Is that
Yeah,
how
you
it
know,
doesn't seem like it's as deep as it should be,
yeah.
right?
I just can't see those guys going along with it. Who says the nation's going to go along? The nation's going to go along with that one woman as their new queen. Who says they're going
Well,
to? Both nations are actually going to want to become one nation.
but then let me ask you something because we know this is kind of a superhero story too,
Yeah,
right? And at the time, of course, stories at the time during the golden age, the stories were written more episodically, right?
yeah.
So, what do you think? What do you think Fred Gardner um, was trying to convey as he was writing it? What do you think the main point was? Was it more to showcase Zatara and his power, or was it more to showcase the fourth dimension in the world? Um, what do you think this story was meant to actually convey here?
I don't know. Honestly, that we shouldn't be at war.
I mean, it
So,
was pretty simple. Right? Do you think the story was written more to entertain or to educate?
probably I'd go more entertain at best, and then
Right.
to me it wasn't completely entertaining. You know, I'm trying,
Right.
like I said, I'm not trying to think about it through today's eyes or anything. I'm just trying to think of it through, you know,
But that's how it might come on
eh,
because you have to remember these stories were written more episodically.
yeah.
In other
Well,
words, and in that, when they're written more episodically, there's not going to be as much depth to it. It's like,
yeah,
okay, Zatara goes in. Basically, the idea is of this story is Zatara ventures into another world where there's a war
yeah,
going on. And
yeah, and
granted,
it's
we may
called the
not know
fourth
why the
dimension.
war.
And,
The one thing we do know is that war is bad because war is bad because a lot of people
yeah.
get hurt, a lot of people get killed. War is bad. Okay,
Yeah, but
so
sometimes war is
so if
good.
there is a
If it
war,
depends on why you're fighting the war.
we don't want war. We want peace.
Yeah,
So So to kind of wrap it up in a nice bit of a bow and all that, how do you with Zatar with his powers, how does he stop a war? Kind of the way he did, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but
Anyways, let's see.
my question is, would it really have stopped the war with everything he did?
Well, albeit we never know because he never does.
Yeah.
There's never a story written where he does actually go back. But
I think somebody could re-explore this story and tell it better.
yeah,
Not
well,
myself necessarily.
maybe, but if we were to redo the whole DCU
Yeah.
based on the stuff that we learned here. But um,
Yeah.
getting on to the next story here that we're gonna go through, and I will as soon as I get there. I will send you the link to that.
Uh, we're good right now because I'm just watching it on the back end here.
Yeah, okay, so now as I said, I'll send you I'll copy and send you the oops, didn't want that. Now, as I understand it, right before I get into reading this, a couple little points here that I want to make about the New York World's Fair comics, right? Um, First off, I think this was done as more of a again. I put the link to it in the private chat if you want to click over to it. Um,
Mhm.
so you now the New York World's Fair comics right here. I believe this was more of a promotional type comic. I don't know, it was made to specifically be sold at the New York World's Fair of 1939. And then, this one wasn't numbered, of course. It only published two issues, this one and the one in 1940. Okay. This was also the first example of what I would come to call a super anthology. Now, as you
Yeah.
know, and you just read with action, as you know, early on, action, detective, adventure, all these comic books were anthologies when they first came out. They were not
Yeah.
feature books like they are today. They were anthologies. You had a bunch of different stories in them, and usually, at least with DC, I think it could have been the same with some other companies too. Usually, the lead feature was usually the first story of the book.
Yeah.
The primary backup feature was, or the secondary feature was the last story in the book, and then you had all the other stories in between. So
Yeah.
now the super anthologies, what they would do is they would usually take the top one or two characters from each of the main anthologies, and we'd see this in the early days of World's Finest and Comic Cavalcade, you know, where the super anthologies would be made up of, um, where the super anthologies would be made up of basically stories of the main a lot of the bigger names, right?
Yeah.
World's Finest before it became a Batman Superman team up book was a super anthology in which Batman and Superman were both featured in, as well as Zatar and a few others. So they
Yeah.
would take, usually the top one or two characters from each of the books, and then put them all into a quarterly book. You
Yeah.
know. So anyways,
Now I must say they did make a bit of a super blunder on this. Superman has blonde hair on that cover.
yes, they did.
Yeah.
They did make a note. They did note that in the notations from the site I was just on
And he doesn't
earlier
even
tonight.
really look like Clark from what I remember of these
Yeah,
ones
if
back then.
it's kind of funny because I don't know if you were on a few weeks ago when we were talking about Wonder Man.
Maybe I'm not sure.
when RJ and I were
Oh,
doing
oh, oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because I was here for the Wonder Man
yeah,
read.
for the Wonder Man discussion. Yeah, well, if anything, the way they draw Superman here, I think is more akin to Will Eisner's Wonder Man.
Yeah. And May May says niche.
Oh, we're not done with the comic reading, my dear. You might want to stick around because we're going to be reading some more interesting stories. We will do niche history if that's what you're waiting on, but we've still got a bit of ways to go because we still got like four more stories to go through. Um, so
Yeah.
we are going to get through them. I'm going to make sure we get through them. You
Yeah.
might want to stick around because these are going to be some interesting stuff. Now, from here, of course, we're going to focus in on the Sandman story here. Um, and you see Sandman right there. So that was what Sandman looked like right there, right? The
Yeah.
fedora, the gas mask, um,
Yeah.
and once again, kind of just scroll down. There's Superman at the World's Fair. Oh, look at how bright that is! This is a
Yeah.
good scan. This is an excellent scan right here.
He looks a lot better. He looks more like Superman and Clark in this than he did on that cover. I don't know who did that cover, but they certainly
Yeah, it
made
was it was considered an artist error, I believe. But yeah. But anyways, look at the bright. This scan is a lot better than the other one we just read through. So it was serviceable. So the Sandman story is going to be, um, and then here's another thing that I think Siegel and Schuster did this, or maybe it was Gordon there, but they were talking about this is a feature on fairs from 1831 to 1939. In some Chuck Warren and again, a lot of these stories are based around the characters and their time at the World's Fair. Obviously, this was, as I said, more of a this book is one of those rare occasions where the cover date and the on sale date are pretty much the same date because this went on sale on basically the weekend, or approximate on sale date April 30th of 1929 or 1939 rather, which was the same date as the um, World's Fair, obviously. And then when I do
Oh,
get
and this probably would have been just before the starting of World War II, too, as well.
correct, like this is too well, okay, you have to remember that you do have to remember that in Europe the war had actually started already. The war was starting probably or about to start in a few months here.
Mm.
This is it was starting in Europe. We didn't get involved until about 2 years after this, two and a
Yeah.
half years after this. So,
Yeah. Well,
uh,
Canada got involved a little bit before you guys.
all right. Yeah, I'm speaking, of course, from the Ginger Snap, which is kind of, let's see, Scoop Scanlon. Scoop Scanlon's kind of a newspaper reporter. Wonder if it's there. He's one of the features in Action Comics. So they actually did have a lot of action because they had Zatara, they had Superman. Now Sandman, who made his first published appearance here, would eventually go on to Adventure. His next published appearance after this would be in Adventure Comics number 40. And when I get down to him, I'll kind of explain something a little bit there. There's Slam Bradley.
Yeah.
Um,
Doesn't Sam isn't Sam Bradley one of the names Bruce Wayne ends up using for a
no, no.
alter ego?
Slam Bradley was a hard boiled detective, from the Golden Age. He was like
Yeah.
kind of a tough guy detective. He's a guy who, and there's Shorty with him right there, his little sidekick. Um, he's kind of a hard boiled detective. He's the guy you didn't want to mess with Slam in a bar fight. He'd knock you silly. He'd
Oh,
knock
I
you.
know what I was thinking of. I was thinking of Matches Malone, although I think he does have
Yeah,
a couple others.
yeah. Well, probably for his undercover work, he probably has a few aliases. Okay, here we go. Here's the Sandman, um, by Larry Dean. Okay, so I want well, actually, I need to it's getting a little dim in here, so I'm going to need to do some lighting adjustments here. But if you want to talk a little bit more, Rick,
You're gonna have to light things up.
well, yeah, I'd take down the towels from my curtains here, and then turn on the light here because as you can probably tell, it's getting a little darker in here. So I'll be
Yeah.
right back.
After these messages, he'll be right back. And maybe he says, "All right, no problem. I was just wondering." And that's right. It's all right to wonder. It's all right to ask. Um, what shall we do? He does that. What should we say? Um, yeah. So, Sandman is coming up next. Um, don't let Sandman put you to sleep. You know. I know the Sandman's meant to put you to sleep, but Mr. Sandman. Da, 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 da. I forget the 1950s theme song. I'm thinking of from Back to the Future. Da, da, da. Bring me a dream. I don't know what else to sing. Mr. Sandman. Do, do, do. Um. So if nobody knows, let's see. A couple things. A. Let's get a link in the chat to my Indiegogo. So somebody can maybe get the digital of this guy. There's and then of course, well, maybe put the link to my channel. I do drawing and stuff, talk about whatever while I'm drawing or with somebody. Well, actually, I do more coloring lately over my channel. Hopefully, I'm going to be on Monday. So there's a link to my YouTube as well. And if
All right. So a quick little note I need to kind of bring up about about Sandman here. So yes, this as many of you've been hearing, I talk. I say this is his first published appearance.
yeah,
Okay, so his next published appearance is in Adventure Comics number 40. But what is commonly believed, what is generally believed, is that the events of that story, in universe, chronologically, right? The events of that story actually take place prior to this story. It is
ah,
believed that the story that ended up going into Adventure Comics number 40 was intended to be released sooner, but for whatever reason was not. So the events of that story. So this is his first published appearance, but his first chronological appearance is considered his appearance in Adventure Comics number 40. So that's the thing
cool.
I needed to kind of bring up. That's another little interesting little side note that was um, part of all this. So
Uh,
just
yeah, and quickly to answer, yes, maybe, yeah, I have my own comic for him, uh, Canadian Shield #1, right now on Indiegogo. I'm crowdfunding for the printing of #2, Canadian Shield #2, and my one of my other characters, Snowdrift #1. So, and you can get them digitally, or you can get them physically. So, anyways, that said, on with the show. This is it. No more rehearsing. We know our parts by heart. Or do we know our parts by heart?
All right. So, anyways, getting to the story now. I'll I'll kind of do most. I'll give you a chance to do some of the voices too as we go along here, Rick.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see where are we at time wise. Yeah, we're already an hour 40. But as I said, we were gonna be going a little longer tonight because of the number of stories
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
number and just a lot of the information we had to kind of go through. So we're
Yeah.
gonna be going
And these will get our less pages. Now we're down to 10 pages instead of 12. And then we'll be down to 6 and then 2 with 4 each. So,
all right. So, anyways, The Sandman by Larry Dean. Weird figure of the night, garbed in mask and cloak, his gun brings sleep, his deeds justice in a world of injustice. He is wanted by police forces of 2 continents, yet he has never committed a crime. A modern Robin Hood, friend of the afflicted. A lot of that language there is very similar to when they first introduced Superman too.
yeah.
Um, Retroactively, they said the first Superman story was champion of the oppressed. But look at that. He's got the fedora, he's got the business suit on there. He's got some what greenish yellow gloves and a gas mask. So, anyways, it's all right. So, um, a high executive of the Dodds Bessing Steel Corporation. You want to do this guy,
Sure.
Rick?
Hey, hello, Wesley. This is Everett. Yes, the plans for the new government ray gun are ready. I'll meet you at the buildings at the World's Fair in the Steel Building in an hour.
Wesley Dodds, heir to the um, Dodds Bessing billions, Dodds Bessing billion millionaire playboy and inventor of the new ray gun. Sound familiar?
Yeah, all except
Um,
for that ray gun.
yeah, deadly tribute to modern science. Hmm. In an hour, eh? Well, the model will be exhibited at the fair. I promised, but the plans, Everts, isn't wise in this, I'm afraid. A model will be enough. Why is Everts bringing the plans? You want?
Oh, hello, my boy. Glad to see you.
I meant to ask you. Do you think it's safe to bring the plans with you? There are spies, perhaps.
No fear, the government men are to meet us here. They want the plans. Here they are now.
Dodds. I'm. Okay. Yeah, Dodds is in the red suit. So, all right, I'll do the guy in the blue suit here as well. Dodds. Dodds. I'm Henry of the U.S. Secret Service. I suggested we meet here to look over the plans. Glad to know you, sir. Mr. Everts, president of the Steel Corporation, brought them along. Do you think they are safe, though? This room is escape proof. There are no windows, no doors except the one you entered. A military guard waits to escort me to Washington.
Mr. Dobbs will explain them. He is the inventor.
Wesley Dodds explains the intricate design of his new ray gun. And so, you see, through the enormous force created to break matter into its structural elements. It derives its great power. Wow, that's a pretty good for comic writing. That's a pretty good explanation, wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
That's some pretty good writing right there. Yet
vague
all
but not vague.
Yet always, as he talks, Wesley feels that queer intuition of danger, and by this arrangement, we can provide sufficient balance. Apparently, carelessly, he knocks the key plan to the floor. Um, Completing his explanation, Wesley replaces the rest of the plans in the portfolio. Hmm. It's late. It's later than I thought. Dark outside. Your talk was wonderful, but no one can understand fully without these plans. I would suddenly indirect lighting effects black out. Someone snatched the grip from my hands. Must have gone out the door after him.
Wesley, you felt you felt this coming. I'm brokenhearted. Come, let's follow.
No use. The man who had brains and nerve enough to plan this theft won't won't be caught by running after him with a gun.
I suppose you are right. There's nothing we can do now.
Later, alone in his laboratory, Wesley removes the key plan from an inner coat pocket. Hmm. The darkness let me pick it up without this. The other drawings are valueless until an expert studies them. Meanwhile, this key plan will rest safely here, and you see, it looks like he's changing. And the Sandman lives again. First, a visit to the government archives. My conscience is at ease, since in my country's interest I steal into these hallowed walls. What do you think steal means in this particular case, Rick?
Um, let himself in,
Yeah, or
get into.
sneak in or something like that. You okay there, Rick? You're not
Yeah,
responding as quickly.
yeah,
Are
yeah.
you
I
wearing
am.
down
I
a
was
bit?
just thinking. No, I was just thinking. For steel, yeah, it's a different way to put steel. Than what I'm used to. So, I was just trying to
You were
figure
trying
out
to
how
think of what it
to.
actually meant, right?
Yeah, and how to phrase whatever I was gonna say. uh,
Just give me a second.
because I had a decent idea what it meant, but sometimes having a decent idea in your head and then trying to put it into words, phrasing something right, can be difficult.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so what shall we do?
I'll be there in a second.
Yeah, no problem, Mike. Um,
Okay, so
Oomba
hopefully.
boomba.
All right, so I'm back now. All right, so let me just double check, make sure that the viewer count's still up there. Rick, you're
Yeah,
still
yeah,
on YouTube, right?
yeah. I should be.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know why it's saying one viewer now.
I show on my end. It shows two
Okay, it may
on
have just
YouTube.
yeah, it may have just added, but yeah, two on YouTube for me as well, and then on StreamYard, let's see. Yeah, it's back to two now. But actually, there technically should be three because with both my um. Anyways, back to the story here. So this is the real George Henry, my friend of this afternoon. Wait. So this is the real George Henry. My friend of this afternoon was a clear impostor, but where could the true Henry be? Except, yes, he must be in the steel building, tied somewhere. Wow, he made that natural assumption. See how he shifted there with that?
Yeah. Well, I guess he's just thinking where's the best place to have gotten them snatched them up.
Yeah.
You know, the real one.
Yeah. A shadow flits swiftly among the fair buildings. If the real Henry is anywhere, he'll be here. It fits perfectly. Ah, you are Henry of the Secret Service?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
man. Thank heaven you've come. But who are you? You are the Sandman? Right. And I want your help. Who is your double? And who tied you and stole the ray gun plans from Everts and Dodge this afternoon? Who? Mr. Sandman, I've hunted for you often and failed. You're supposed to be an outlaw, and now apparently you are helping me? Come, fellow, who tied you? I'm not sure I should tell, but speed is essential, and the government agents would be slow to contact. Mr. Sandman, the man who found me represented himself as me, is an international spy, Boris Leland. His yacht is off. In a minute, the Sandman is speeding from the fairgrounds in his powerful car, and soon is on the dark shore of Long Island Sound, opposite a sleek yacht. And look at that, he takes his shirt off and goes diving in. Look at that.
Yeah.
Aha, my friends of this afternoon. Inside the cabin, the Sandman sees. But the key plan, it's gone. Where? How? We've been duped. Quick, hook up the relay. Get him on the wire. Right, Chief. Hello? Yeah, this is Leland. What are you trying to do? Give us the double cross? key plans gone. Yes, sure, I'm sure. You'll be here in an hour, right? Now I really am curious. Who did Leland call? I'll wait before I play my hand.
Who did
Oh,
he
really?
call? He called your boss.
Rick, who do you think he called?
The boss, the guy that I was doing the voice for.
That would sound like it to me. Silently, unseen, the Sandman climbs to the crow's nest. As, hmm, as good a place as any to wait out the hour. Later, the roar of an approaching powerboat shatters the deathly stillness. Here comes the unknown. Maybe I'll get the brains behind this after all. The Sandman drops to the deck.
Where are you going, buddy?
A dose of sleep will do you good. Look at that, and look at the design of that gas gun right there.
Yeah.
Doesn't that look a little sci-fi to you?
Yeah.
That looks more like something you'd see on Star Trek or something like that, right?
Yeah. Well, it looks pretty. In some ways, it does look a little ordinary.
Yeah.
But
And the rest of the crew, yes, play safety first, Sandman. And there he goes, gassing the crew again.
they got gassed.
Yeah. The Sandman leaves his insignia, a fine curtain of sand. And now my coast is all clear. Leland and this unknown should have talked things over by now. Gentlemen, Everett, you?
Who? Who are you? How do you know my name? Know me?
Yeah, yes. Who are you? I, gentlemen, am sometimes known as the Sandman. I understand you have thieved plans for a new ray gun. I, the Sandman, get him, or everything is lost. And he once again gasses them. I think everything is lost, gentlemen. Terrified, Everett attempts an escape. With the plan safe, I'll have my accounting with Everett. Everett, why did you betray Wesley Dodds?
I needed the money badly. I was stealing from the firm. The plans meant $1 million to me.
So you see what he just admitted to? He just
Yeah.
admitted to embezzlement right there.
Yeah.
He pretty much just admitted to embezzlement. A classic crime from that time period. All right, see on Rick.
I dared not copy them. It would lead to my door. This seemed easier way and safer for me.
I hate to do this, Everett. Poor fool. But you must pay. There. That dose will hold you. Back on shore, the Sandman starts the powerful car. Now for a phone booth. Police, you found Henry? Good. Tell him his quarry are on the yacht iced. Yes, he'll know. Back on the Sound, the Sandman assures himself the capture is made. Now, if the Sandman mails the plans, it will look better in the papers for Wesley Dodds. in his mansion, and so, till another time, adieu to the Sandman. The next day, so Henry of the Secret Service calls the Sandman a miracle worker. Eh? I'll have to give him a call. Henry, God speaking. Read the morning papers, and wanted to let you know I've got the plans back intact, mailed to me by the Sandman. Yes, they're all safe. Later, and so, gentlemen, the model will be exhibited at the fair. No one can understand its working without the plans, and they're protected now forever. And thus came the ray gun to be safely exhibited at the World's Fair, its plans secure in the government vaults in Washington. The Sandman must be a great guy, don't you think so? A great guy? Well, maybe so. The end. Well, there we go with that one. And we're going to try to speed through. Now we're going to get to the Batman story from Detective Comics 20.
Yeah, I am Batman. No, that one come from later, much later in the Batman mythos.
All right, hold on. Yeah, I'll just have to let that one go, I guess. I think my phone's running a little low on its battery. That's why I want to stay up. But as I said, for those may want to catch, this is an episode definitely will want to catch on the replay, everybody, because if you didn't get a chance to see it live, because we're going through quite a few things tonight. So, a bit here. You just do something. Yeah, Rick, if you can
Yeah.
comment in the comment section every once in a while, that would probably help too a little bit. In fact, why don't you if you want periodically, why don't you go ahead and you know put your link up to your comic up
Yeah,
publicly.
I did it about 20 minutes ago, or around the end of the last story,
Yeah. All right. So
or just before May May said, "Ooh, you have a comic, awesome."
yeah, I can continue to do it as well. Give
Yeah,
me one more moment here. I'm gonna see. Let's see if maybe if I can put it back up on my phone here real quick. See if I can get it to. Yeah, it's not letting me do that. Yeah. Anyways, this can be a bit distracting sometimes, I know, but it does get on my nerves that YouTube and StreamYard just have a screwy way about this stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on to the hopefully eventually we can
Detective Comics number 27.
right. So I gotta go back up.
Yes, at this point, Detective Comics has been running longer than Action Comics, but Action Comics has the bigger star at this point
Mm-hmm.
of Superman.
Yeah,
Although Detective Comics is about to, of course, get its.
big primary feature, but of course he'll still be considered a secondary feature for a while with only 6 pages. Now, hopefully, these stories will start because now we got through the two huge, big stories. Huge, you know. Now it should hopefully, we should now because 6, 4, and 4, we should be able to get through those a little quicker now.
Yeah. It's just getting them in the book, finding them in the book. Although I think Batman is fairly close to the beginning. I think.
It is in the beginning. From the get go, it was always the first story, but at this point, the secondary feature, or the primary backup was actually the first story, whereas the lead feature was the last story. Detective Comics at this point. All right, so there we go. So November 27th, May 1939, 64 pages of action. Starting this issue, the amazing and unique adventures of the Batman. Now, at this point, they were calling him the Batman, and also for the most part, aside from that right there, in the early days, his name was being spelt with the hyphen, the Batman,
Yeah.
as opposed to it being one word. So look right there. So crime never pays. All right. See the hyphen right there?
Yeah.
Um,
The blue hyphen.
yeah. Oh, with the blue background. Of course, the Batman, the case of the Chemical Syndicate, um, by Bob Kane. So I'm gonna enlarge this a little bit. The print looks a little small. So I already have it at 200. Let's see how 300 looks. That might help a little more, which it does. Okay. The Batman, a mysterious, adventurous figure fighting for righteousness, and apprehending the wrongdoer in his lone battle against the evil forces of society. His identity remains unknown. The home of Commissioner Gordon, who at the moment is entertaining his young socialite friend Bruce Wayne. Well, Commissioner, anything exciting happening these days? You want to try doing Commissioner Gordon there?
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Uh, no, no, oh, except this fellow they call the Batman puzzles me.
Uh,
Hello?
hey, Rick, you know he doesn't have an English accent, right?
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to do something different than.
Yeah, but you've been doing that's the
Yeah,
same voice you've been doing for almost all the characters. Try to just ask you try to vary it a little bit more.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, let's try. Uh, oh no! Except, uh, no, except this fellow they call the Batman. It puzzles me. Hello? What's that? Lambert? The Chemical King? Stabbed to death? His son's fingerprints on the knife? I'll be right over. Talk about something exciting. Old Lambert has been murdered. His man at his mansion. I'm going there now. Like to come along?
Um, oh well, working, nothing else to do. Might as well. The commissioner and Bruce, um, Wayne, speed toward the Lambert. Now, mind you, think about this for a moment, right? Um, he's in essence now, Grant. Bruce is high society member, close
Yeah.
friend of Commissioner Gordon here, but he's still bringing a private citizen to a police scene.
Yeah.
You know, now, Grant, I've heard of ride-alongs and all that, but I mean,
I don't think they existed back then.
yeah.
Hello, Sergeant. Everything under control?
Yes, sir. Um, we've got young Lambert in the back room. And after a thorough examination of the scene of the crime, the room becomes busy with the usual police routine.
While I'm here, in I'm finished in here. Let me talk to you, young Lambert. Hello, Lambert. You say you killed your father?
I didn't do it, Commissioner. Believe me, I didn't do it.
Calm yourself, boy. Calm yourself, my boy, and tell me all about it.
Well, sir, tonight I came home early, and as I was passing the library, I heard a groan. I rushed in, and there was my father, lying on the floor, with a knife sticking up from his back. And as I rushed in, I got the impression of something leaping out the window. I also noticed that father's safe was opened. I pulled the knife out of my father's body and turned him toward me just in time to hear him say, "Contract, contract. Oh!" And then he died. That's how I got my fingerprints on the knife. That's the truth, Commissioner.
Hmm. Did your dad have any enemies or people who had an interest in his business activities?
Not that I know of, except his three former business partners. Let's see. They were Stephen Crane, Paul Rogers, and Alfred Stryker. Commissioner, there's a man named Steve Crane who wants to speak to old Lambert. When I told him that Lambert was murdered, he got very excited and wanted to speak to you.
This is Commissioner Gordon. What's the trouble?
And then I think that's a thought bubble. So now, what I would recommend if when you do the thought bubbles,
Yeah.
do it like this. With your hand, like to kind of indicate, okay, it's a thought, not an actual spoken word.
Yesterday, Mr. Lambert called and told me he received an anonymous. You know what? I think that's coming from the phone.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's probably coming from the phone. Okay, I'll do it then. And again, we will use this part. Yeah, yesterday, Mr. Lambert called and told me he received an anonymous threat on his life. Today, I received the same. That's why I called up, and I'm afraid I'll be next. What shall I do?
Wait, and do not leave. Anybody in, leave. Do not leave. Anybody in will be over soon. As soon as we can. What's that, Bruce?
Um, Ho hum, I'll leave you here to finish your. Oh wait. Ho hum, I'll leave you here to finish your work. I'm going home. Meanwhile, Stephen Crane sits in his library with a feeling of impending danger when suddenly there is a sickening shot. Um, Crane slumps. Crane slumps in his chair, dead. The murderer rushes to the safe and secures a paper. Did you get the papers? Yeah. As the two men leer over their conquest, they do not notice a third menacing figure standing behind them. It is the Batman. The Batman! The Batman lashes out with a terrific sight. Crack! He grabs his second adversary in a deadly headlock, and with a mighty heave, sends the burly criminal flying through space. The Batman the Batman swiftly picks up the paper that the murderer stole from Stephen Crane and Stephen Crane's safe. Meanwhile, um, the commissioner dra- uh, draws up in his car, I guess, or drives up in his car. Um, it is the Batman! Get him! Uh, Mr. Crane has been murdered, sir. It's horrible.
That's two dead partners out of four have that have received threatening notes. The other two must have received them too. Let's go, Rogers. To Rogers next.
The Batman reads the paper he snatched from from the killers, and a grim smile comes to his lips. He speeds his car forward to an unknown destination. Meanwhile, Rogers, who has learned of Lambert's death by news broadcast, has already gone to the neighboring laboratory of his erstwhile partner, Alfred Stryker. Let's see. Hello, Jennings. I must see Mr. Stryker quickly. Won't you come in? Shock! Jennings, Stryker's assistant, carries Rogers to the basement of the laboratory. Here, one more out of the way. One more out of the way. Soon I'll control everything. This is the gas chamber I used to kill guinea pigs to experiment with. But now you are my guinea pig. Heh. when this glass lid covers you entirely, gas will come through and jet to the jet and kill you. Hee hee. You fiend! Jennings pulls a brake, which starts the glass down over Rogers and certain doom. Hey, doesn't this remind you of something, Rick?
Does, but I can't think of it offhand.
The 60s live action Batman?
Oh yeah.
The death traps?
Yeah.
It's kind of playing out like that, huh?
Yeah. Except it's not Batman being put in this
Right.
case.
I'm going down now to turn the gas on. Sleep well, hee hee. At that moment, the Batman leaps through an open transom. I believe what transoms are those like big overhead ceiling windows in buildings. I believe that's what a transom was.
Yeah, like a big overhead skylight almost. What we would call a
Yeah.
skylight.
The Batman seizes a wrench from a table and leaps for the gas chamber. The Batman quickly pulls the glass jet with as the gas chamber descends entirely over them. He then unties Rogers, and with a powerful swing, crack! Jennings returns and is supplied by the Batman, and is startled by the Batman. He reaches for his gun. What the? The Batman greets Jennings with a plain tackle. Meanwhile, Alfred Stryker was heard has heard the crash of the gas chamber as he enters the laboratory. Rogers, what happened? Your assistant Jennings tried to kill me. However, Stryker has not noticed the Batman who has secluded himself in the shadows. So he didn't get you after all. Well, I'll finish you to and then throw your body in the acid tank below. You? Oh, my hand. What's the idea? Why did he try to kill me? This rat was behind the murders, you see. I um I learned that you, Lambert, Crane, and Stryker were once partners in the Apex Chemical Corporation. Stryker, who wished to be sole owner, but having no ready cash, made secret contracts with you to pay a certain sum of money each year until he owned the business. He figured by killing you and stealing the contracts, he wouldn't have to pay his money. Him a very clever scheme, and being the contracts here a strict secret between the four of us. I'm sorry. Hmm. A very clever scheme, and being the contracts were a strict secret between the four of us, our heirs of the our heirs or the outside world wouldn't know a thing about them. But how did you know all this? I secured the contract from one of his hired killers. Suddenly, Stryker, with the strength of a madman, tears himself free from the grasp of the Batman. Sure, I did it, but you won't send me to the chair for it. I'll stop. He's falling right into the acid tank. Befitting ending for his kind. How can I ever thank you? Why gone? The next day, young Bruce Wayne is again a visitor at the commissioner's house, who is just finished telling Bruce the the latest exploits of the Batman.
Well, and then Roger said the Batman went through the skylight.
Hmm. A very lovely um, fairy tale down. It sounds indeed. Let's see. After Bruce Wayne has gone,
Bruce Wayne is a nice young chap, but he certainly must lead a boring life. Seems disinterested in everything. You gonna read the last little bit?
Yeah, I will in a sec. I'm just
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
get this thing to acknowledge me as a viewer. Anyways, Bruce Wayne returns home to his room. A little later, his door slowly opens and reveals its occupant. If the commissioner could see his young friend now, he'd be amazed to learn that he is the Batman. Um, a new thrilling Batman story. So, anyways, there we go with that one. We have a couple more to go through. And normally I would have, I know we're running long on time here, so normally I would have gone down through the thing to show you the rest of the comic, but I give you the
Yeah. Oh, well,
priority.
you're. Well, you.
I'm gonna get to the last two stories. No, it's
Yeah.
just that a little irk that StreamYard seems to. You can comment.
I can't comment in StreamYards. I can just comment on YouTube.
If you can do that, that will help too. I mean, I just commented in StreamYard, try to get it to knowledge, and it did apparently go back up to the. All right. So, anyways,
Well, you're bringing this next story up. I'm gonna go grab another glass of juice.
all right, and we're already past the 2.5 hour mark. But as I said, I'm going to make sure we get through these stories. And in this issue, Ripley's Believe It or Not. So, number 2, May, 10 cents. Got Hop Herring. I gotta make it. I've got to save Prop. The Mystery Man of Mars. You got Red, Wine, Blue, and Squibbly. Come here, you dope. I ain't gonna hit ya. I love you. Help! Police! Mom! This one's bright too. Look at it. Look at the bright colors there. You back, Rick? Savage. Red and white coloring there. Regular fella. Ripley's Believe It or Not by Robert L. Ripley. Believe it or
Believe
not,
it or
long before the
not,
TV show, there was a comic strip for it.
I'm walking on air.
Singing the greatest American hero. All Americans, yeah.
It's
Come on, Jeff. Steve. Hop Harrigan. Here we go. So, Hop Harrigan by John Elby. Yeah, I think for time purposes, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try. I'm going to probably try to read these on my own this for the rest of it because we're already
uh,
running long. Huh?
I said okay, no problem.
What's up, Prop? Come and join us, Icky. We're celebrating Hop just won his pilot's license, and with flying colors. Congratulations, Hop! Hey, Prop, lay off the rich food. You're test hopping today. That stuff's dynamite for you. You know what they mean by test hopping there?
Not sure actually.
Actually,
Oh,
well, I guess you wouldn't because okay, so this is more of an aviation story. They're all pilots. So he's
yeah.
test hopping means he's testing a new plane out.
Uh,
Go fly a kite. Gosh, Mr. Wash, thanks for everything. That swell dinner and teaching me how to fly and all. It was easy, Hop. You're a natural born pilot. There's your plane, Prop. I checked her myself, but she's just as liable to fall apart as not. Well, soon we'll soon find out. That's my job. Gosh, there's two seats in front and two in back. I'm going with you. What are those sandbags for? They're there for testing with a full load. Um, they take the place of passengers, baggage and all. Um, that and you can't go. Come on, Icky. Help me put on my harness and gather the officials. So long, Hop. See you at supper. Happy landing! Hop hastily gets into his flying togs and parachute harness. I'm going up. I'll dump out my weight in sandbags and hide under a sack. You going to sleep there, Rick? You sound like you're
no,
sleeping.
no, I am awake.
Hmm. I hope nobody sees me. Gosh, here they come. Hit her. Oh, wait. Hit her ceiling, then give her the works. Good luck. Happy landing, Prop. All clear. So long, gents. Prop, wait. I think Hop. I think Hop. Oh, doggone! It's too late. He can't hear me. Uh-oh. Icky was right. At Rich Food, I didn't feel so good. 22,000 feet. Won't go higher. Here goes. Goes into a dive. Oh, my stomach! Mr. Wash, Prop. He's passed out. We're heading straight down. Gosh, he's heavy. He's out cold. I've got to take the plane down. Arrogant by John Elby. Prop, the wing stripped. Prop, we're lost. What, Hop? What are you doing here? What happened? Bail out, son. Bail out. You know what bail out means, Rick?
Yeah, get the hell out of
Yeah,
there.
that's right. I'll try to land her. You can't, Mr. Walsh. You're too sick. I'm sticking with you. A wing strip. Hop, Prop, bail out, bail out. They're not bailing out. Crash wagon, ambulance, fireman, doctor. Prop, semi-consciously, gives orders to Hop. Full throttle, son. Bring her in fast. It's the only way to keep her under control. I gotta make it. I just gotta. I've got to save Prop. Like yeah, it looks like the plane hit hit the tail right on the ground there. A little explosion mark there.
Yeah.
He's going to crash into the hangar. Rube, close shave. Wow, safe landing. Send back the crash wagon. Send back the ambulance. Wait, here's a casualty. It's Icky. It's Icky, our mechanic. He must have just stumbled.
I think he fainted.
Prop, we thought you were a goner. You sure are lucky. Gentlemen, your ship didn't crash, and I'm alive all because of this young ouch. Quit kicking. Sorry, sir. I stowed away. It wasn't Mr. Wash's fault. You ruined our test. You jeopardized the life of our best test pilot with your prank. It's jail for you. Wait, listen, please. The kid landed this ship. I passed out, and he landed it alone, with the fabric of off the wing. Ah, what? What? I'm all washed up. I'm too old for test hopping. I'm through. Mr. Wash, why did you have to tell those officials? Hop, my boy, the future of aviation rests with boys like you, not old bucks like me. Icky, what happened to you? Did you stumble running across the field watching us land? Ah, gee, gosh, watching you land, I fainted. Hop Harrigan is in for some real excitement next month. There we go. Now, as I said, we're gonna do the squibbly story from the next All American issue, number 3, because that's the one that introduces us to Ma
Red
Hunko.
Tornado.
Right. But she doesn't make her first appearance as Red Tornado until issue 20. But this is here's All American Comics number 3, The Mystery Men of Mars featured in it. There's Hop Harrigan again, boy pilot. Now think of it. Now theoretically, what I believe, Hop is about 14 years old at this point. So think about this. Now, granted, back in this time period, 14-year-olds could get driver's licenses and pilot's licenses. Of course, I don't think that'd be the same now, but I don't think no state allows anybody under the age of 18 to get a driver's license, no less than a pilot's license. But think about that. Think about being a 14-year-old. If you really had the inclination to, you could learn to fly and get your pilot's license.
Yeah, he reminds me a bit of Hal Jordan.
Engines or anything like that. They were more like biplanes and propeller type planes.
Yeah. But Hop reminds me a little bit of Hal Jordan. I think they drew some inspiration from him.
Yeah, but Hal Jordan was quite a bit older, obviously. Hal Jordan was probably in his late 20s or so when he became Green Lantern.
Yeah, but he'd been a test pilot for quite some time, so.
Yeah. I mean, you could also argue that Hal Jordan could be a younger, if they were gonna give anybody, or have any kind of like link to this, he might be more like a younger version of, he might be more of a younger version of Prop there.
Yeah.
A younger man, younger version of Prop. Right? Maybe that will work. Maybe that doing it that way now. If I comment in this section, it will probably work now. Okay. Anyway, so now
Yeah.
we're getting into Squibbly here by Sheldon Meyer. We're gonna meet Ma Hunkle there. So,
You're gonna meet my uncle.
anyways, okay. So, Squibbly by Sheldon Meyer. Why my big brothers leave home by Squibbly. Now, Rick, I don't know if you've watched any of our coverage of Squibbly before, but just to give you a little bit of a heads up on Squibbly is a young cartoonist. Um,
Uh,
and one of the things they did is kind of a side thing here, is that they'd have, as Squibbly, Sheldon Meyer would write a story involving, you know, this piece. He'd sign it as Squibbly, but this is Sheldon Meyer doing. Hey kids, you have a kid brother home kid brother home that's always getting in your hair. If you have this is a complaint corner. The next time he pulls something screwy, write me and tell me all about it. I'll draw it into a cartoon. Address your letter to me at All American Comics, 480 Lexington Avenue, New York. See, now that was cool back then too, right? That
yeah.
interactive kind of thing.
Yeah, that's sort of what we're doing nowadays. The interaction with our fans or whatever. Some of us draw stuff from them in the chat.
Yeah. Squibbly has just moved to a new neighborhood, and he is performing a very important social function, making friends with the kids on the block.
Uh,
Hello,
you sure it's not the new kids on the block?
hello, hello. What's your name? Squibbly Gibbet. What's yours? Huey Hunkle. Can ya run? Sure, I can run. Hey, okay, let's see ya catch me. Hey, come on, can't you run any faster than that? If I catch you, I'll if you catch me. Say, quit shooting that thing at me. Hey, now you don't have to take your bath on Saturday night. Open that door. Don't let him in, Ma. Here, here. What's all this the noise about? Look at me. I'm all wet. Let me at him. I'll kill him. Hmm. This looks like a very delicate situation that'll take a great deal of diplomacy to handle. Now you two sit down here and have milk and cookies till the mad is all gone out of yees. And mind ye, now no kicking each other under the table. Typical mother, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure how much that'd work nowadays.
Yeah. Believe it or not, and try. This is the beginning of a long. Believe it or not, this is the beginning of a long friendship. Wibbly by Sheldon Meyer. Why, why big brothers leave home? I can't understand why everyone's been trying to kick me all day. Do 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 do. Sent in by Birdly. Okay, by Squibbly. Rick, can you guess why people have been trying to kick him?
Oh, maybe because the sign on his back. Kick me
Yeah,
hard.
that's an old trick, isn't it? Put a
Yeah.
sign, kick me sign on somebody's back. Kick me hard. All right. The idea of you two kids fighting like that. Yes, you oughta be ashamed of yourselves. Now drink your milk and be friends. All right, Ma. Gee, I'd like to get this guy alone in a dark alley. I don't like that ape space. I don't like that ape space. I feel like hitting him over the head with a chair. Man, sounds like somebody wants to
Uh,
throw them into a WWE ring, doesn't it?
yeah.
Uh, Peace. That's my motto. There's too much hatred and bloodshed going on in this world as it is without you kids being mad at each other. Doesn't that sound a little familiar?
Yeah.
Still seems like that today, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, Ma. Come on, you. I'll show you my stamp collection. Oh, all right. Now look at their faces right there. Look at their faces seem to be doing the exact opposite of what their words are saying, right?
yeah.
Like even Squibbly's looking kind of scowly. That's more like it. Look at it, the two of them friends already. If there was more people like me, this would be a better world to live in. Ma, come to the window. Fatso took my dolly. Ma. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Ma, come to the window. Fatso took my dolly. Ma. Hey, leave her alone. You little swab. Go on about your business. Oh, button your lip, you old tugboat. Don't you call my mother a tugboat? Had I had a girl, sis. Let him have it. Papa! Hey! Stop hitting my Adolf. Stop that, Dot. You hear? Bad enough your mama won me owes me for 3 months grocery bill without you should killing my Adolf. Stop, Dot. Hey, you keep your big nose out of this, Schultz. This is a private fight. Look at Squibbly right there. He's like, pow! Oh, look at that. Ah, look,
Yeah.
look, Squibbly's a question mark. That's better. You see, you just gotta have a knack for settling arguments. Peace. That's my motto. Squibbly. Why big brothers leave home? Gee, it feels great Uh, Gee, it feels great to be heading for heading. Great to be ne- nearing my new suspenders. Tish tish. Oh my. Hey, did you ever try? Oh wait. Hey, did you ever try? Hey, did you ever? Okay, I'm trying not to do off accent there. Hey, did you ever try to write any stories? No, but I draw pictures. Oh wait. What? Try this again. Hey, did you ever try to write any stories? No, but I draw pictures. To do? Well, maybe you can illustrate my great American novel when I finish it. Look, I wrote 5 pages already. Gosh, how can anybody read that? Every other word is crossed out. Well, that's because every time I write a word, I always think of a better one, so I change it. Nothing's too good for my book. But golly, how can an editor read that? Good question. Oh, Rick, you're writing drawing comics. You have an answer for that?
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah. Well, if he can't read it, it's too bad about him. Huey can't help it if the editor is a dope. Shut up, sissy. Here, I'll send it to you myself. Yeah, maybe you better. I must be looking at it upside down. Let's see. Oh, read it. Okay, I'm sorry. Read it, Lisa. It was a dark and stormy night, and the rain came flopping and down on the slouch hat of our brave hero, Benson. Benson. Yeah, Benson. Yeah, Benson. I got the idea from Smoke Simone. Good, huh? Listen, suddenly out of the night came a woman's shriek of terror. Oh, oh, said Hero, a lady in distress. I must go to her rescue. Shut up, you. Do you have to show everybody you know it by heart? Well, I can't help it. You'll read them 5 pages to me 100 times. And so Huey reads through his 5 pages of blood and thunder while his little sister acts out all the parts for Scribbly's benefit. Well, that's all I've got so far. How do you like it? Well, look, let's make believe I'm the editor and I'm reading your story. Hmm. So you wrote this all by yourself, huh? Well, young man, it seems to me you've killed off all your characters in the first 5 pages. You've nothing left to go ahead with. Ah, what's the matter? It's original, ain't it? Yeah, it's an original 5 page story because you basically ended it after 5 pages and didn't realize it. What do you plan to do? Bring them back as zombies or something like that? Squibbly by saying my big brothers leave home. And then the sign reads, Squibbly Gibbet is unfair to his kid brother. Come on, come on, kids. Get ready for supper. Well, I guess I'll be going. Don't be silly, Sonny. Sit down and have some supper with us. The gang will be here any minute now. Well, I come. Come on, don't be bashful. Everybody has supper with us. Hurry up, or you won't get a chance at the bathroom. Hey! Hey, what was that? We're too late. That was the thundering herd. Now, well, have to wait our turn to wash up. Ah, shucks! They beat us again. Come on, let's see if we can squeeze in between Uncle Herman and Cousin Felix. Nope, no luck there. All here. Guess we'll have to wait till they're finished. Look at all of them. Now, mind you, this is towards the end of the Great Depression, mind you.
Yeah.
So this is probably a common thing back then. Hey, gang! Meet Squibbly. Here, Squibbly. Hi, hello. Hello. How's the boy?
Quit shoving.
Shucks. Shucks. Now they beat us to the table. Nuts. They'll get all the meat out of the stew again. It'll be nothing but soup when we get to it. Say, does this happen every night? No, sometimes we have company and then Pop starts off with a starting pistol. Yeah. Then everybody has an even chance. Hey kids, drop around next month. You simply must meet the thundering herd.
Cool.
So we're done with all the readings then. How did you like those selections, Rick?
Good. Very good.
Yeah, so as I said, we're done with the reading. So, and we're up to we're past the 3 hour mark. I did say we were gonna push it. So
yeah.
So. Anyways, I think it's a good time to start wrapping up here.
Yeah. Probably.
Before we go, of course, we'll do this day in each history. So let me just review. So usually it wouldn't take us this long, but I really want to get through all those stories tonight. So
yeah.
7 from 2002 and then 1952. Okay, so with all that being said, Rick, if you can stick around for just a couple minutes afterwards.
Yeah.
So I won't keep you too long. Just a quick wrap up because I know we went quite long tonight, but we had a lot to go through. That's why we went long.
Yeah, for
Yeah. So,
sure.
anyway, so today is Friday, August the 5th, 2020. So let's take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. History! So, anyways, first off, we hit our first stop. We're going to head back to 1952. As on this date in 1952, the 110th issue of Red Rider Comics from Dell went on sale on this date. Again, still 10 cents at the time, 48 pages. So on this date, and this is looks like a Western style comic. On this date, back in 1952, which was 70 years ago today, the 110th issue of Red Rider Comics went on sale on this date.
And
So,
my mom would be 5 days away from being 10 months old.
okay. Well, hey, now you can tell
No,
your mom. You can tell your mom what you just found out now, right?
excuse me, I mean 8 months because she was born January 10th, 1952.
All right. Um, so with that, moving on to the next piece of Nietzsche history here. We've had a couple of interesting things here. First, two premieres, one in animation and one two premiere animated movies, one in animation and one in anime. First off, on this date in 1997, which was 25 years ago today, the Walt Disney movie Pooh's Grand Adventure: The Search for Christopher Robin premiered on this date back in 1997. So 25 years ago today, Pooh's Grand Adventure: The Search for Christopher Robin premiered in theaters on this date. Actually, not in theaters, actually. In fact, let me see.
On
Actually, yes,
this,
yes, in theaters. I'm sorry, it did premiere in
yeah,
theaters. There was the other
on
movie.
the on this date 25 years ago, Pooh went on an adventure. Oh,
Pooh
Winnie the
Bear,
Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh Bear, me and you. It's always Winnie the Pooh Bear. I gotta be there. Me and you. Oh, silly Winnie the Pooh. And also, well, 1997 is just so nice that we're gonna hit it twice. As also premiering on this date at Fantasia Festival, Perfect Blue would premiere at Fantasia Festival on this date, also 25 years ago today. So Pooh's Grand Adventure and Perfect Blue both premiered on this date 25 years ago today.
Cool.
And finally, on this date 20 years ago today, um, on this date 20 years ago today, from from the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland, the WWE, I guess by this point in time, the company had changed its name to World Wrestling Entertainment. The WWE had held its Monday Night Raw event. The main event saw Rob Van Dam defeat Chris Jericho. Also on the night, um, the Hardy Boys would defeat Christian and Lance Storm by DQ in a World Tag Team Championship match. You also saw Sergeant Slaughter and Test end in a no contest. Tommy Dreamer would retain the Hardcore Championship over Bradshaw. And the night started off with Bubba Ray Dudley defeating Big Show in a tables match. So there you go. That's all that happened this week. And I thank everybody for being here tonight. I thank everybody for all the likes and shares. I'm going to try to wrap this up a bit more quickly here with all that. With that, don't forget, we'll be back here on Monday for more Nietzsche news coverage. And next week, RJ Carter will be joining from Critical Blast as we will be continuing our look through comics that went on sale in April 1939. This time, of course, next week we'll be focusing in on Centaur comics. We'll be looking through some stories from Amazing Mystery Funnies as well as Keen Detective Funnies. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. Rick, I thank you
Hey,
for being here as well. And
thanks for having me.
Monday. Bye.